This episode of Local Film Talk was recorded in the Green Room at Natty Green's in downtown Raleigh. Perfect for business meetings or just joining friends to watch the big game, the Green Room is the ideal place to host your next event. To learn more, contact David Crack at 919-232-2477 or email david at nattygreens.com.
We're here again in the green room at Natty Greens in downtown Raleigh, talking to Michael Babbitt,
Hey,
local director, cinematographer, editor. What am I missing? Do a
well,
little bit of everything.
well, I mean, that's purely out of necessity.
Mm-hmm.
I actually call myself a director.
Okay.
I know actual real cinematographers,
Mm-hmm.
and real editors, and while I can understand their jobs and I can do them to a certain extent,
Mm-hmm.
the craft that I'm good at is being a director.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well, at this level, most of the stuff is out of necessity. You know, you
Yes.
can't go out and find a whole bunch
Right.
of people to do everything. You got to
right,
learn to do it
right.
yourself.
But as I've gotten better at what I do and our company's grown, I've begun to divest certain roles that I was. I mean, the first shoot we did way back in 2007, I pretty much handled everything.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And after the first one, I immediately said, I am never touching another microphone or a sound design ever again. That will always be shipped
I
out.
know
We
that
will
feeling.
always hire somebody to do that. So I don't do sound. And I now hire cinematographers for my shoots. The next job I'm trying to divest myself of is the editor job. So
Oh, okay.
so I don't have to do
Not
that
a fan
as
of
well.
editing?
No, I don't. No. I mean, good editing is good editing. I mean, I think a lot of people think editing is just basically having a copy of Final Cut Pro X and being able to push some buttons. And I've actually had somebody say to me, can you teach me how to use Final Cut Pro? And I'm like, well, how about we teach you how to edit first, and then you can take the tool of Final Cut Pro and apply that to the editing. So-
Right, you can watch a tutorial on YouTube to figure out how the software works,
Exactly.
but to actually edit something good,
Yeah, exactly.
that takes practice
Exactly,
and skill.
I mean, an editor can completely change the way a scene works. Completely.
Now you said Final Cut Pro. You
Right.
use Mac?
Yeah, well, I'm a Mac user. I started out on Final Cut Pro, and then Final Cut Pro 6.
Okay,
And then I moved to the Adobe Suite
right.
because I do most of my comping in After Effects. And I
Right,
said,
right.
well, if Final Cut, I didn't like when the original Final Cut Pro X came out, I was really leery of it.
And it was like not backwards compatible at all?
No, it wasn't backwards
Right.
compatible at all. I said, so if I'm already using After Effects, I might as well learn Premiere Pro. Well, after about 2 years learning Premiere Pro, I decided that I want to try to kill every member of Adobe's design team at Premiere Pro.
Yeah.
And I decided I wouldn't do it anymore. And I did some research about Final Cut Pro X again and decided, you know what? Downloaded the demo, edited an entire film on it, tried some things, got to know some things, and I said, you know what? I think I'm going to move to this. So I've moved back to that platform.
But you still have to use, for like your composition and all that stuff, you still have to use After Effects and all the other third-party
Well,
stuff.
I I thought since I was moving back to Final Cut Pro X that I would teach myself motion.
Okay.
Well, that's proved to piss me off a lot too. So I've been using After Effects since 2007.
And you like it?
I do. There's a lot, there's things that I don't like about it, but generally.
Because you don't like Premiere, but the same people made.
Yeah, but After Effects isn't an editor. It's a compositor.
Right.
I'm not in there trying to put my film together. I'm in there taking the film that I've put together and making
Putting the
it
layers on there that you need.
yeah. The color correction, the any sort of visual effects that need to be done to it.
And for that, their system works fine.
Yeah, and generally, if there's something that I can't figure out how to do, I know enough about how After Effects works that I can go out and pretty much figure it out. I mean, that's another thing. I don't want to be the compositor.
Right.
I want to, I would like to. No, it's not that I'm not going to have a hand in all these things as the director. You're going to want to be there with the editor. You're gonna,
It's nice to have a working knowledge of the stuff
Yeah,
so that you
yeah.
kind of have an idea. Like if you want somebody to do something, you can kind of say, couldn't you do it by using this, this, and this to
Right.
put together?
Or if the editor says, I'm going to do this, this, and this,
Mm-hmm.
using this, this, and this, I kind of know what he's talking about, as opposed to looking at him going, just
All right,
show
do
me.
it and let me see what it looks like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's not that I'm not competent in many of these things, because I
Mm-hmm.
work in a visual medium and I'm a very visual person, but
Right.
I don't want to just be competent.
Mm-hmm.
So for my films, I don't think I'm just a competent director. I
Right.
actually am very confident and feel like I'm a really, really good director.
Mm-hmm.
So in order to match that, I want to find people that are equally as good
Right.
at their specific jobs,
Mhm.
rather than just me being the one that's, well, I'm the one that has to do it now, so
If all the different elements are done competently, you will have a competent film.
Right.
But if everything is done expertly by expert people, then you can have a really fantastic
well, yeah,
film.
that's the theory. You could also have crap.
Theoretically.
Because you know what happens when you get a bunch of geniuses in a room.
Right.
But yeah. I know it's a common thing, especially in the indie world, to, underneath your business card to have it be actor, writer / director / producer. If other people want to do that, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be good at one. I want to be
Right.
good at the one that I feel like I really am good at.
Mm-hmm.
So.
You don't want somebody to look at your business card and say, oh, so you know After Effects, and what you're really saying is, yes, I can stumble my way through that.
Yes.
Because they're looking for somebody who they can say, all right, I need a dinosaur to swoop down and terrorize this entire street of people, which is probably going to be a couple levels above what you were talking about.
Just a couple,
So,
though.
Right.
Just a couple
Yeah.
levels.
Just
Yeah.
a couple video Copilot tutorials away.
Yeah, Video Copilot. One of the first effects I ever did was thanks to Andrew Kramer.
Yeah? I think that's a standard for everybody. I think that's the first place
Yeah.
everybody goes.
Everybody goes there.
Mhm. The early stuff is good because he's just using After Effects, but then once his company started making all the plugins and
Yeah,
everything,
yeah.
all the tutorials uses plugins, and
Plugins,
it's like,
yeah.
oh, that looks really cool, but I don't have $500 for that plugin.
Yeah,
so.
that's true. I purchased their,
Action Essentials?
I believe so. Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Mm-hmm. Gunshots and
Yeah,
blood splatters, all that.
because there was one film, one of my films, Elimination, we shot in 2009.
Mm-hmm.
There was one sequence with a couple of gunshots that I wanted to have in
Mm-hmm.
there, and knew we weren't going to be able to use. We didn't have the resources, didn't have the funding to be able to do it, actually practical, which is what I prefer to do it. But
Right. Because that ages better, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Digital stuff really quickly starts to look composited.
yeah, but that's why I got Action Essentials.
Yeah, I saw, what is it, your Faces
Yes.
short. I remember I was watching that one, and when the guy shoots himself, I immediately said, Action Essentials,
Action Essentials.
because I saw a little blood splatter out the side of the head, and I said, that's an effects pack. Or was it practical?
Well, no, that wasn't practical.
Okay.
But we did that. We did that ourselves.
Really?
Yeah,
You made
because I didn't
your
get one
own-
that wanted didn't get one that was there was one that was right in Action Essentials, because I pulled out my Action Essentials for that and stuff like
Okay.
that. So, yes, I've been known to. There's there's a blood squirt in. There's a blood squirt in Elimination as well, and that was done. That was done by me standing off screen with a syringe
Yeah.
and and angling the camera and squeezing that syringe to spray it across the wall.
Uh-huh.
And we didn't test it beforehand, and I was really shocked, and so was my wife, at how much blood came out of that thing.
Wow.
I mean, and then we still find spots of it, and that was shot in 2009 in our living room. And we will occasionally still find a spot of the blood somewhere in the room.
Move the couch to vacuum, and you're like, oh, there you go.
Yeah, I mean, it went freaking everywhere. It was unbelievable. So yeah, but I like practical effects. I mean, we want to do a lot of practical effects for the feature, The Endless Whispers. And it's actually all budgeted for this, because there's in that there's like a 20-minute sequence that has a good deal of action, and then there's a lot of mayhem that's even not just the action sequence at the beginning, but once they get within the compound that they stay in. So I like practical effects.
Cool.
Digital effects, I think, are great.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't have any problems with it. I think they're currently highly overused.
Mm-hmm. But it comes in handy when you don't want to make a mess in the living room.
No, man, it was making the mess in the living room. That was a hell of a lot of fun. Are you kidding? I was like, yeah, that was awesome. Mentally, with the amount of work I was having to put into the feature,
Mm-hmm.
and the amount of work I'm having to do for the feature,
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't handle it.
And it's impossible to concentrate when you have
Yeah,
other stuff going on too.
I could not do it.